Okay, so today is garden part 2. Don't mind the red skin. I worked out hard, took a hot shower, and I'm now outside in the heat, and she just don't recover quickly. Okay, so I have to dig out again where our tomatoes were last year because it got all covered with grass and weeds. And then I'm going to plant, so those will be my 2 remaining tomato plants. I'm not sure my son's watermelon is doing so great. We'll try and plant it anyways. And I'm gonna plant that kind of close so I can kind of block that off when we mow. And then I'm gonna plant my flowers. So the kids might help, they might not, we'll see. Part 2 I think will be a lot less help than part 1. Not that part 1 had that much help in it either, but here we go. This is where we had the tomatoes last year, and you might wonder, like, why would I put tomatoes here when I have these perfectly good beds? Well, I find that they do better in the ground because I think that their roots can really spread and they're not competing with everything else. And my cherry tomatoes do really do great in the beds, but my actual tomatoes flourish in the ground. I do put some potting soil on top, but they do really well. We must just have good. We have really naturally sandy soil, but it must just be good for the tomatoes or they really enjoy it. So this is where I'm gonna plant the tomatoes, and I'll let you watch that. Okay, so I figured I will give you an overview now that everything is planted. So here's my tomatoes with really tall cages that my mom had gifted us. When we were growing them in the raised beds, they ended up growing amazingly. Like the actual plant itself, just the tomatoes weren't always great. We ended up with blossom end rot sometimes, and there must have been different nutrients lacking in the soil. They just didn't work out. So I have these really tall cages if we get tall plants. But these are the tomatoes I planted, and I already showed you the 2 different varieties. We've already cut grass and have clippings in here, and I've contemplated on putting mulch over top of the potting soil that I laid here. But we have red mulch in our garden, and I don't really want to put red mulch in the yard, so and I also kind of don't want to buy a whole bag of something different just for the tomatoes. So we'll see. I might just leave them as they are. I know you already saw, but I'll just show you the raised beds with all the cages. We've got our pickling cucumbers, yellow bell pepper, orange bell pepper. This plant actually started to look rough and then really came back. You can see there's some leaves that died, but otherwise it's looking good. I was told at one point to plant marigolds with the like melon or cucumber type plants, that they keep those bugs away, and they really, I don't know if it was a coincidence or they really work really well, but we had nothing attack our plants last year when we did this, so I did it again. Our zucchini, another marigold plant with no flowers. And I know I already showed you, but I'll show you our strawberries currently, which look amazing. There's a million flowers, and I think they're ever bearing, so I'll be curious to see once these get fruit and ripen how much like they'll actually come back after, so that's exciting. This is the snackable bell peppers. I believe they're red. This is the porch cucumbers, which I think are just a little bit smaller, just for eating, not pickling. And then I put another marigold in here. Our black cherry tomato, which is already growing a lot and looking great. And our jalapeno, which again is growing well, looking nice. And that's all of our vegetables. So the last I left off, these were empty. I think I have some footage of me filling them. I have a mixture of flowers. I have the alyssum. I have petunias. I have, I can't remember what those are called, lobella maybe? And then I have some like pinky red verbena, which you can see better up here. So I just have the three. They look sparse right now, but they really fill out as the season goes on. Just so you can see kind of like how our garden is set up. We have a lot of lilies, a couple different varieties and colors. These shrubs were actually here when we moved in, and this was all rock, and it was literally nothing but the green shrubs and rock. And then these red plants, which I don't even know what they're called, but they're pretty. I like the breakup of color. So we just left them, and I haven't pruned them, and I'm not really sure how or what to do. But these have thorns on them, so I'm a little nervous to even do it. So I planted all the lilies. Actually, fun fact, we live in Lower Michigan. All the lilies came from the UP, from my mom's house. She, when we moved in here, like 6 years ago, I think, maybe 7, 6, I don't know. She went through her garden at our house in town and split up her roots of her lilies, and those are the lilies that are planted here. So, except for these kind. Like these, I have 3 of these that I bought at Lowe's when we first moved in. She brought all the bigger, like, tiger lilies. And then we have another shrub that was here from that, like, rock garden. And I need to get another bag of mulch to fill in because it just looks messy down here and I want to fix that. But we bought the rhubarb plant at the farmer's market when we first moved in. So that's our rhubarb, which has been here for years. And then this is like the outside part of our walkway. These black-eyed Susans, which are small and flat right now, were here. My mom brought these like frilly yellow lilies from the UP. And then I bought these little paver stones just as like a spot to walk without having to walk through the mulch. I just got 2, one there and one there. So this is our front porch, which we're actually going to be replacing with Trex in about a month. So right now our deck looks a little rough, but I don't care. I still think it's kind of cozy and whatever. These are the pots that I have that I do identical. I like mirror them. These are the ones I just put on the concrete, and then they have the same thing as the hanging baskets, except we added the red petunias because there was room. This one just has the alyssum, the labella, and the petunias, and then this one has two of the verbena and a marigold. And then I have my little yellow, whatever it's called, that looks like tiny petunias. And then the hanging basket that I got from Bourdain's. My little table, which collects a lot of water, and I end up cleaning it a lot throughout the year. And this is the little plant that I was planting in the video. This is the same variety that's in that hanging basket and in the little red pot up front, but it's like obviously a different color. I just thought it would look pretty back here because I love that pot. And then our little window box that has a little crack in the back that I need to put duct tape on because it still is fine otherwise. I just flipped the cracked part to the outside. But I usually just put leftover stuff, and I didn't space it very well because I put the lobella, the verbena, the other lobella in here, and then just added a random petunia. I thought I would have 2 left over to put there, and I didn't, which is fine because this one should spread out really nice, hopefully. All right, well, that was my garden. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you're interested in this kind of like lifestyle, mom, kid, outdoors, there will probably be more of my garden as the summer goes on content, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It really helps support me. Let me know what vegetables you're growing this year. I hope everyone has I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Bye.